Hi, I'm Jennison, creator of Marine Diesel Basics. Today, something rather different, an interview with Rob Barton, who has just become the first person to row non-stop, solo, unassisted across the Indian Ocean from Australia and to Africa, and he landed here in Tanga. So I interviewed him at the Tanga Yacht Club. Here's the interview.
Okay, so I am Rob Barton, and I have just in the last couple of days finished a row from Western Australia, Carnarvon, to Tanga in Tanzania. It's been a journey of a little over, well, pretty close to 4,500 nautical miles, over 5,000 normal miles, nearly 9,000 kilometres, and yeah, and I've rowed it. So. It's been quite a journey, look, I mean, when I started this, I was expecting it to be a journey of about 180 days, because the research that I did showed that the previous 7 solo crossings, which all stopped at islands along the way, none of them went to mainland Africa, and the ones that left at the same time as you as I was planning to leave all took about 100, 120, 150 days. So I kind of expected to take 6 months. We did a lot of work with University of Western Australia. They came on board even before I bought the boat, doing a whole load of data analysis of weather as it has been over the last 20 years. And they plugged in the weather forecast into a data model to say, well, based on the forecast and based on what we expect to happen beyond the forecast, we think you should aim to be here, basically on a daily basis. So their model got me to Madagascar in pretty close to 60 days. So that was amazing. That basically took 2 or 3 months off my expected time straight away. And then from Madagascar to Tanzania, that was we picked that up really on our own. We sort of followed our own model on that. And yeah, here I am.
Why did it take so long from the tip of Madagascar to coming up here?
Yeah, so from Madagascar to here, in hindsight, I should have taken the corner. I should have taken Cap Don much closer. I went about 35 miles off Cap Don and ended up getting swept too far north, came out of the main current stream that was going west, and ended up in a northwest current that I was just fighting on a daily basis. And then also the weather forecasts weren't delivering. We were consistently being forecast with southeasterly winds and consistently getting southwesterlies. And that was challenging to row into. The rowing boat really needs to have the wind aft of the beam, and if it's forward of the beam, it's just painful to row. So I spent a couple of days on sea anchor, but the current was taking me northwest, even whilst on sea anchor. It's just that I was going at a slower pace than with the wind blowing me that way as well. And in the end, I was actually aiming for Dar es Salaam. That was the sort of the target. But with the currents, it just took me a bit too far north, so I ended up going north of Zanzibar. I spent another day at anchor off Zanzibar, so I was halfway across the channel from Zanzibar to Tanzania, and a westerly came in that I just couldn't row against. So back to the shoals to the north of Zanzibar, where I spent the best part of the day at anchor, catching up on some sleep, and then rowed over, anchored overnight, managed to get about 2 or 3 hours sleep, and then rowed up here the following day.
What time did you actually arrive here?
I think it was 2 or 3 in the afternoon, something like that. Yeah.
How did the original idea come to be?
Yeah, so I come from sort of a sailing background. So my parents, they sort of spent 10, 15 years sailing around the world. My grandparents the same, and I was looking for an adventure, a water-based, ocean-based adventure, but sort of from a family point of view, I didn't want to do what they'd all done. In hindsight, that was probably a mistake, but I wanted to do something different. And I stumbled, I was looking on YouTube for things to do, and I stumbled across this young lady, Sarah Uten, who crossed to Mauritius in a rowing boat from WA, and I thought that something I'd never heard of before, a bit unusual, a bit different. That looks like a great thing to do. And she wrote a book, which I've read, and it's a wonderful book. She's a very good writer. It's very amusing, and yeah, it just sort of, she inspired me to do it. And and then when I started researching it, I found no one had been to mainland Africa. So I thought, well, I'm going to row. Why not row a similar trip, but something that never been done before? So that's how I decided on coming to mainland Africa, and then Tanzania was the logical destination, and here I am. Yeah.
But it's a long way from having the inspiration of the idea to actually putting to sea.
It is, and that it took me. I don't know. You start mentioning it to friends who sort of start thinking, "Oh yeah, here we go, another harebrained scheme that's never going to happen." And then I sort of started looking for second-hand boats, and eventually found this boat.
So that's just part one of Rob's amazing story of his voyage across the Indian Ocean. Join us for part two coming soon. Thanks for joining, and until next time, remember, fair winds and a reliable diesel if you're not rowing.